Are we live? Here we go. We're live.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Hi.
Hi, welcome. I'm just going to shuffle over just a touch, not scratch your toes there. Hi, welcome. It's the Existential Cuppa.
Back again.
Yeah, we're back. We had a couple of weeks off. Both of us got struck down by some dreaded lurgy at this time of the year.
But not COVID.
Not COVID, no. Thank goodness for that. Okay, so here we are. It's Friday afternoon. It's stinking hot here in Darwin. What's it like where you are? Pop us a note in the comment and say g'day. Let us know where you're tuning in from and let us know what the weather's like because it's really hot.
It's nasty.
It's so hot that the existential cuppa is today an existential glass of water.
Cold water.
Because it's too hot for tea. Right, that's me being silly. Would you like to do a welcome today or would you like me to do the welcome?
You do it.
Okay, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. As you probably know, we're broadcasting from Larrakia country. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to give my heartfelt thanks and gratitude and my honour and respect to the elders, past, present and emerging, and to the traditional owners of this beautiful land that I live and work on, and that Marg also lives and works on. The traditional owners, the Larrakia people. We seek to do spirit work here in accordance with the deep existing spiritual connection of this place for healing and enlightenment of all. And we give absolute thanks for being here. And thank you for joining us. And hello there, Roz. It's very mild in South Oz. That sounds so delightful just at the moment. And we've got the lovely Adair tuning in from the balmy, thundery Coochie Mudlow Island. Well, that sounds pretty nice too. It's a bit thundery here at the moment as well, but it's not balmy.
No, it's not balmy at all.
Would you call it like Swedish sauna, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's probably not a bad idea. But I don't think we're going to get any rain here in Darwin. I think it'll come around us.
Yeah.
We've got a few more months of this before we get any more rain.
Yeah. So that brings us on to a really good topic today. What was that? We are getting some cloud happening now. Oh, I hope you get some nice rain with that, Roz. Some nice, clean, refreshing, clearing away the residue type rain.
Yes.
We need some up here. But it's this time of the year in Darwin in particular where things really the pressure really starts to come on. So we thought now would be a good time. Saunas are supposed to be good for you. Yeah, you know, what's that yoga that they do, the hot yoga? Yeah.
Hot yoga. You just go outside and do hot yoga up here. The problem with the sauna, though, is that you can be naked. Up here,
you can. Well, you can.
Well, I suppose you can, just not in public, yeah.
The other good thing about a sauna is you can get out and turn it off.
Yes. Thank God for air conditioning.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, up here at this time of the year, it is unpleasant. And it can really amplify things for people. So they had lovely rain in Coochie Mudlow Island yesterday. I'm not envious at all.
No. Should we pack up and go?
I'm so tempted, you know. The sunny coast is calling my name.
Indeed.
Yeah, never mind. But, you know, here we are. It's what we call tropo season up here at the moment. Mm-hmm. And it's a great time of year for mango lovers because this is when all the mangoes ripen up and they're all over the place selling them for $10 a bag on the roadside. But that's the only good thing going for it, really. The rest of it, it's like living in a pressure cooker and it brings a lot of things to a head. So we wanted to talk about stress. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say this is love to have you here. Oh, yes, I'd love to come for a visit, Adair. Mm. One of these days when, you know, the border passes and
we can bring you some mangoes down, Adair. We can bring some down for you.
You bring the pineapples, we'll bring the mangoes. Yeah. That sounds like good. Swap your spots. I love mangoes. Yeah. You'd want to love mangoes to live through this. Yeah. Never mind. So stress. We are rambling on a bit about mangoes, but we wanted to talk to you about stress because it is rampant, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it was rampant before COVID and it's even more so now. Yeah. And I think stress, we all know stress has a physiological and a mental and emotional and spiritual effect on all of us. And certainly for us up here in this weather, it makes it worse because everyone's feeling more pressured. Everyone in clinic that I've seen in the last 3 weeks is needing more stress support, more nervous system support. They're not sleeping as well as they were. Things are not functioning as well as they were because of the heat. So our environment makes a difference, definitely. And then everything else that we do in relation to our environment. So Linda and I have 2 girls that are finishing year 12. So that's another stressor. Linda then has another girl who's got 2 more years to go. So it's, anything can be a stressor for us. And depending on how our body's functioning and how we're feeling, will depend on how we respond to it.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a really good point there, and that's really why we wanted to talk about stress, was because stress is multifaceted. And I think there's kind of a misperception about what it is. Hey, Helen, thanks for joining us. I'm so glad you found us. And I know you mentioned in comments during the week that you've been feeling the pressure at the moment too. So I'm really glad you found us, and feel free to drop questions and comments in as we go, and we'll address them as we go. But I think it's really important to understand and identify things that can add to your stress load, and to understand that even if you're not feeling particularly stressed, the chances are that you are actually living with a level of stress, because I think there's very few people in the Western world at the moment who aren't carrying some form of stress. So do you want to give us a bit of a physiological understanding of what's happening? Shall we look at maybe a stress response, a chronic stress response, and an acute stress response, and maybe go from there? What do you think?
I think with stress, it's different for everybody based on our biology, on the experiences, how healthy our body is, whether we're sleeping enough, eating the right foods, exercising, drinking enough water. Our stress response, or threat response they call it now, is that fight flight, where when there is a threat that we're presented with, our adrenaline is pumped out of our adrenal glands and goes up to the brain, and it makes us hypervigilant. And the cortisol goes to the gut, and it says to the gut, hey guys, I need all that energy that you're using to digest dinner the night before out to the arms and the legs, so we can stand and fight and run away and hide. So when we were cavemen, this kind of worked really well. Wake up, stretch, go outside, saber-toothed tiger. Adrenaline up to the brain, cortisol out to the gut, and we stand and fight, or we run away and hide. So we can grab some breakfast, or we run away and hide from the breakfast. We don't become breakfast. And then that response gets shut down. But in today's world, it's always on. There's always something else. We think we deal with one thing, and then something else pops up. For me, a big stressor is when my appliances don't work. I find that very stressful. And before coming here this morning...
Are you talking about IT appliances?
Well, anything basically. But yeah, the latest for me has been IT. I haven't had any internet, and I've had the Telstra man there and my brother there helping, but it's all really, really stressful, until we work out what's wrong and then how to fix it. And then, so I think it comes down to what matters to us, how we're emotionally connected to something, or the importance of something in our life. And then when that doesn't function the way that we want it to, we get stressed. What Linda said about not realizing that we're stressed is really common as well. We need to, our body adapts. It adapts up to being stressed. So if we've been stressed for a long time chronically, or lots of little things that are stressing us, our body, to keep everything stable and keep everything balanced, has to adapt to that situation. And that then affects nutrition, it affects gut function, it affects nervous system, and we start to see a whole lot of other systems not working properly either. And we need to, regulate all those things so that we can reduce the stress down. I have never met a woman that isn't stressed, whether they have children or not. I've never met a man who isn't stressed. We're all stressed all of the time. It's just about degrees, and it's about how we're connected to the things that matter to us. So it's not something that we should accept as being, oh, well, it's always there, so we should just accept it. We actually need to look at how we can manage it better, recognize that we're stressed, even when we don't think we are, because that fight flight response is autonomic. We don't turn it on and off with our brain. Well, we do, but we don't have any control of that happening. So even though we might not think that we're stressed, we actually are physiologically, and we're seeing deterioration in the body. So that's a big deal. And chronically, that occurs throughout the whole of our lifetime. And it's one of the things that ages us significantly. Our Western lifestyle is not a healthy lifestyle. We're the only culture in the world that doesn't have a little nap in the afternoon.
You know what? I like those afternoon naps when I can get them.
that says something,
Yeah.
So, and we think that we can't do that. Our work-life balance isn't as balanced as it should be, in terms of, making sure that we're coping with everything that we're doing. We're just putting more and more and more things in.
Yeah, that makes me, you're just reminding me of a thought that I had earlier today as I was driving for the second time into town to pick my daughter up from something and take her to something else. And, my thought process was, it's great that I work for myself and I have this flexibility and that I am able to just drop everything and go. And then it's like, my business isn't as important as my husband's job, because he can't just drop everything and run. And I guess, he is a police officer, so that is understandable. But, even if he was working in an office, it's not okay for him to just walk out of the office and go for a drive and pick his daughter up and, take her wherever and go back and make up time later or do whatever it is. There's this idea in our heads that kind of work is more important than the kind of work that I'm doing, because I've given myself a work environment that allows me to accommodate family needs. And I've chosen that. I have consciously chosen to work this way because that's reduced my stress load. But there is this whole sense of, it's almost like righteousness about being in a workplace where you are logged in for 8 hours a day and that is your focus. And then within that, you have your set daily benchmarks that you need to meet. And for me, when I worked in advertising, those benchmarks were deadlines. And I can remember, and I still get an echo of that sense of dread and anxiety around deadlines, because that was a huge adrenaline thing. If you missed the deadline, you were really sunk. And, harking back to the days where you had to actually prepare artwork, print artwork out on a special machine that printed it on photo paper and then paste it up and then get it on a courier to get it to an airport, to get it to the interstate papers for placement, by a set time. So deadlines were a really big thing. So I told you that story to tell you, I don't know, I've lost it because the weather's got me stressed. But I do notice we have a couple of comments here that I'll just check in on those. Roz, congratulations for finding a way to build flexibility in that gives you those afternoon naps, and we'll get on to why that's important shortly. And Helen was just woken up from one and she was trying to meditate. Now that's interesting too, because that's a stress response, and we'll get on to that shortly too. So Jessica, am I pregnant or going crazy? My emotions have been way off balance lately. Any advice? Well, Jessica, probably the first advice would be to get a pregnancy test done.
Absolutely. I go and get a pregnancy test done. Definitely,
Yeah.
I do that.
But that's a really good question, and we'll touch on emotions in stress response as well.
Yeah, and if you're not pregnant and your emotions are out of whack, then somewhere in your body we're out of balance. And we need to look at what's going on in your world, how you're sleeping, how much water you're drinking, all of those kind of things to see whether we can, whether those things will make a difference. But if you're pregnant, absolutely. That's, if you're pregnant, that's totally normal.
Yeah. I just remembered why I told you the story I was telling you before. It's thinking, the stress response that we have naturally. Unfortunately, we've taught ourselves how to trigger that with thought alone. So we don't actually have to be facing a physical threat for the threat response to kick in. just the thought of missing a deadline was enough for my adrenal system to go into overdrive, even though some of the things I had absolutely no control over, like courier and traffic, getting to the airport, stuff like that. So, but it's not just me. We tend to do that with the catastrophizing and thinking about the what ifs, or even, regretting the what has been. These types of things keep us in a constant state of low-grade stress because we mull things over and just keep ourselves in a state of overdrive. And that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
That is not a good thing.
No.
So sorry, I interrupted you with some, you were giving some really good physiological advice.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, we're talking physiologically about the acute stress versus chronic stress.
Yeah. So, I mean, acute, because it's an autonomic process, when a stressor is reduced or a deadline's met or things have changed, our stress response will drop, but it won't stop. It will always be slightly on too high. And this will affect how our digestive system functions. This will affect our nervous system. It'll affect our sleeping system. It'll affect pretty much all of our systems. But the most important one it affects is digestion, because that cortisol is always there saying to the gut, I need more. I need to move your energy out. The gut is the one area of the body that has the most amount of energy. Requires the most amount of energy. So it needs this to do a variety of different jobs that it has to do. And if some of those jobs don't work, or they're not happening as frequently, then we're going to see a whole lot of other changes happen in our digestive system, and our gut doesn't work properly. That then affects our mood, because we're not getting adequate amount of nutrition up to our brain, all this kind of stuff. So gut function is really important in helping us to maintain and manage our stress. So when we have gut dysfunction, but we don't think we're stressed, the gut dysfunction is probably an indication that we are, and we need to address that issue. And that's a really important thing.
I just noticed this comment from Jessica. Yeah, hi Jessica. Look, we don't do the channeling work that some of the other ladies on the My Time TV channel do. We are intuitives, but our stuff is more based around what's going on in people's bodies and doing body reading work. So, as a client, that would be something that either of us could help you with. But yeah, I definitely recommend that you get in touch with your primary care provider and just follow up with that, because sometimes those the self-help urine test things, pregnancy kits, do show up a false negative. So it is worth just getting confirmation on what's happening there for you. So the other thing that was mentioned up here was Helen was talking about she's just woken up from a nap, although she was trying to meditate. And I did say, that's actually a stress response as well. So let's talk a little bit about what we can do for ourselves if we are feeling stressed. And one of the really good things to do is to start soothing the nervous system. And the most obvious and easiest things to connect with as a starting point is the breath, because the breath is actually about the one and only conscious connection that you have with that autonomic part of the body that controls the stress response. So even just connecting with the breath, we could do a quick one now if you like.
Yeah.
I'll just take this comment down. So if you're watching and you're not listening while you're driving, if you are driving, maybe try this one when you stop somewhere and come back and have a look. But just get yourself seated comfortably, have your feet on the ground or resting on a surface so you're feeling grounded, and allow yourself to be well supported by your chair. So have yourself right back in the chair, supported by the back of the chair, and just take a nice breath and let it out with a sigh. Empty them all the way out, because that's automatically, with the sigh, you're automatically signaling to your nervous system that you're in a place of safety, because you can't sigh if you're running. So sighing is an automatic signal to your nervous system that I'm in a safe place. I'm in a place where I can relax. And then I just want you to place your fingers in a bit of a triangle like this with your thumbs together and your fingertips. Oh, there we go. Fingertips together. Place your thumbs in your navel and just let where the fingertips fall naturally against your abdomen. Just give that a couple of gentle pushes and then allow your attention to follow your pressure there and be taken deep inside the abdomen around that area. So we're talking about the area below the belly button, deep inside the abdomen. And what we're going to do is take the breath to this space. This is the area of energy that is known as the Dantian, the Sea of Qi. It's known as the Hara, and it's also in the same area as the sacral chakra. So this is a really potent area to connect with. So let's just take a nice, deep, easy breath down to the belly, allowing the belly to rise gently under the hands, and then breathing all the way out. Just letting the belly fall all the way to the back of the spine. Emptying completely out and drawing a nice deep belly breath in. And all the way out. And just in your own timing, taking one more nice deep breath down to the belly. And breathing all the way out. Just letting your breath now come back into its own easy, natural rhythm. Just taking note of how you feel. It's possibly that you're feeling calmer, more centered, more present in the body. I call this the goddess breath, and it's something that you can do throughout your day, whatever you're doing, just helping you reconnect with how you're actually feeling in your body in the present moment, and just giving you some space to actually breathe. So that's one thing that we can do.
Yeah.
And I've actually got a little guided exercise. So if you're interested, pop your name in the comments there and I'll flick you a copy of the goddess breath so you can do that whenever you need to. So connecting with the breath, that's definitely one easy, quick way if you're starting to feel yourself getting hyped up. But I know that we've got some people watching who are prone to going into panic attacks. So sometimes connecting with the breath can actually have an adverse effect if you're prone for panic. So what are some other things that we can do if we're starting to tip the dial up that far?
So from a polyvagal point of view, which is a major nerve that runs from through the body up to the brain, and the gut impacts the brain via this nerve, exercise is really valuable. It's really important to do. So any kind of movement, if it's walking up and down the stairs, if it's walking around the house, if it's walking around the office, going outside and just walking around for 10, 15 minutes, or doing something that's physical is a really good way to reset that stress response. It's a really effective way to help the body settle and feel calmer. And I think that's a really good thing. We need to stay away from stimulants and depressants. So we don't want to be taking anything that's stimulating, and we don't want to be taking anything that depresses our body.
So you're talking about their stimulation, so like things like caffeine, like coffee, tea, soft drinks,
anything like that.
Power drinks, whatever they're called. And depressants, things like alcohol.
Yeah, alcohol's the big one.
Yeah.
Because whether you're close to a panic attack or not, both those things will exacerbate the situation. If you can remove yourself from the situation, if it's an environmental situation, so here in Darwin, we go and put the air conditioner on. If you can do anything like that, that's the other thing, is to remove yourself from there. So I think that's a really important thing to look at as well. I mean, there are some things, vitamin C is really handy. You know, if you're feeling really stressed, popping a couple of vitamin C can calm you down.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really handy.
Vitamin C is just the most amazing supplement.
Yeah,
it really is.
A good cold drink of water, even if it's winter, still a good cold drink of water can calm us down. Anything that kind of distracts us, anything that helps us to move away from what we're doing, whether it's thinking or doing or feeling, anything that can distract us is a really good way. A shower is a really good way of distracting us and helping that polyvagal effect, so that getting the nerve to work or to settle and work more efficiently. All of these things move us away from feeling more anxious. Knitting, crocheting, you know, creation, any kind of creative thing, drawing, the colouring in books, you know, the reason they're so successful is because it's about focus. It's about focusing down on, you know, what you're doing, and that distraction mind away from how you're feeling or what you're thinking, all of those kinds of things. Sometimes, though, sitting and weathering the anxiety or weathering it and moving through it can be a very useful way to do that. But obviously that's not an option if we're close to panic. But certainly it's a good thing at the beginning of that process.
Yeah. And if you are prone to high anxiety and to panic attacks, then getting some professional help with what's going on for you, whether that is, if medication is required, I certainly think leaning into that support until you're starting to feel more centered in yourself and capable in yourself.
Yeah, I think that's,
it's a valuable thing to do.
And whether it be medical or whether it be complementary, I don't think it matters. It just matters what works
for you.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the really important thing. It's about stabilizing what's going on in your body physiologically, and then from there everything else will settle down and calm down that response.
And I think, doing there are some things that you can do to actually soothe the nervous system, and meditation is one of those, but it's not always a good starting point if you're really in a heightened state of arousal. And it could be that working with a therapist in relation to EFT tapping or EMDR cognitive therapy can be really good for actually releasing the trauma stored in the nervous system.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is actually addressing the physiological root of what's going on for you. So clearing and calming the nervous system, and then moving into bringing meditation into your self-support, and using a form like Transcendental meditation is really powerful because it also helps release stored nervous energy in the nervous systems and trauma and emotion, so that form of self-support. But if you're in a place of high state of arousal, then you need an acute response thing first.
In clinic with me, if I have somebody who's coming in and they're very distressed, I have a number of products that I would just pop into their water, and that helps to calm them down, and then we can start the process of healing. But I think that whatever works for people is the most important thing. Sometimes if your glucose level is unstable, or you haven't eaten, going and eating something can make a difference. The water, it can make a difference. Even having some juice can make a difference to the anxiety or the excitation in the body. And that, I think that's a really important thing to consider, those things as well. It really doesn't matter what we do. It just matters that we recognize that we are stressed, or that we are anxious, or that we've got some nervous system activity. One of the fundamental things, I think, long-term is sleep. If the sleeping is disrupted, then what goes on in the day will always be more intense, even if it's a relatively quiet day. But it will always feel more intense because we're not rested properly, and we need to actually get enough rest. And, I was doing a symposium a few weeks ago, and, the latest research is talking about 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. Now, that doesn't matter whether that doesn't matter if we're night owls or we're larks. we still need that. So if we're going to bed late at night, say 11 o'clock, we still need that 7 to 9 hours, which means we have to start our day later. We can't get up at 6 and then think we're going to be okay. It's not enough rest. If we get disturbed at night, it's not enough rest. And so this kind of builds up, and this affects our nervous system, and this affects how our body, functions, but also how we perceive our environment. And that's a really important thing. I wonder, with me and the IT stuff recently, it's been full moon. And so on full moon, I don't sleep very well. So I'm a bit tighter. So maybe I didn't cope as well, with the IT issues because of that, So if I'd slept all the way through, I might not have had as many issues. I don't know, possibly.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of stuff. So I think it's really, really important for us to think about what it is that we need to do. And the more present we are in our world, the easier it is to observe the drama we, do for ourselves, but also to get out of it. And the more present we are, the easier it is for us to go, okay, well, what is it that I actually need to do? Oh, I need to do that, or I need to do this. And then, rework what we're doing in our world, which is, it's a life, it's ongoing. It's never static. It's always changing. And so we just evolve as we need it to do. If I wake up and I'm tired, but I know I've got a full day of work, then all I'll do is my work. I won't do any admin. I won't do anything else. I'll do the bare minimum of everything else, and I'll just see my patients. And that's it.
Yeah.
But if I've got a lot of energy.
It's really interesting because our way of life and our way of working in particular, it's almost geared to keep us fractured. It fractures our attention and it fractures our energy, and we barely ever give ourselves time to regroup properly. And I just wanted to take in a brief moment for a sidetrack for a community service here. Jessica, if you're still with us, Roz, who's watching, Roz is a beautiful, gifted psychic, and she's doing a show tonight that might be better suited to the information that you're looking for. So if you're able to tune in then, catch up with Roz, because that might be what you're after. But I also saw here from Helen, this mouse. Okay, she's talking about something that her GP wants to do. Now, we can't actually give advice around that, but I'm not sure if there was a question that was associated with that, Helen. Do you want to just give us a bit more information? And if you've got a question around that particular statement, perhaps we'll be able to give you some information, but certainly we can't give professional advice on that. True. Yeah. So Adair is also saying, luckily she doesn't drink. Her happy place is in the water. Okay, lovely. So Adair's actually done the most amazing sea change, literally recently, as in she bought a houseboat and lives on the ocean, moored near Cuchimadlo Island. So
do you have any pets? Because I've got 2 pets. And I'm concerned that if I bought a boat and moored myself somewhere, we'd have issues.
So we need to know.
Yes. Do you have
life on a boat?
Preclude
cat and dog in particular? Yeah, specifically.
Does it preclude pets? Because that would be very nice.
Okay. Helen's been waking at 3 a.m. with heart racing and sweats. Yeah.
It's an overload of cortisol. So your cortisol levels are unbalanced. So seeing your primary healthcare professional, they can help that, whether it's a naturopath or a complementary therapist or a medical doctor, they can help that process. It's not that difficult to fix at all.
Yeah, but it just it does take perseverance to
it's just a matter of
support yourself through the process.
That's exactly right. But it from a clinical point of view, it's not that difficult to fix. It's just a matter of finding somebody who knows what they're doing and doing it and working with them so that you can, build a plan and make sure that everything else is functioning properly too.
And you'll probably find once that hormone balance starts to even out, your meditation practice will become easier and easier. And just on the the question you put up before about the falling asleep during meditation, there's a couple of things going on there for you. Part of it is stress. It could be that your body's just gone, oh my God, she stopped. I just need to rest. And if you need to rest, that's a good thing.
Buddha always said the best meditation is sleep.
Yeah.
So that's okay. It's okay to fall asleep if you're meditating. That's actually fine. It means your body needs to rest.
And once you've kind of built up a little bit of that reserve of finding a little bit of hormonal balance, finding a little bit of release through the nervous system, and, settling into a place where meditation actually becomes a supportive practice for you, that will be the time to start looking at, well, if I'm still falling asleep, is this now because I'm still stressed, or is this now because my ego mind, my personality self, my thought-based me is trying to sabotage my wanting to be in connection with higher consciousness?
Indeed.
Yeah. But
and whether your gut works properly too.
Yeah. So, but certainly getting the physiological side soothed and more balanced and in a better place to support meditation practice.
Yes, I agree. I think that's a really important
the way to go.
thing.
Otherwise, you're just going to get really frustrated.
Yeah. But I think also with meditation too, don't overthink it too much. It doesn't matter what kind of meditation you do. They all have benefit to some degree. It's more about, I had somebody say to me recently who's just learnt TM, and they said, oh, but I'm always thinking. It's like, it's okay. Part of stress is that we overthink, is that we're always trying to do just the right thing, be perfect, all of this stuff. We don't actually have to do any of that. We just have to do it, and then it will come. And if we do it that way, it becomes much easier to do, and the faster we get it. And there will always be thoughts, so thoughts are there. It's just whether we engage in the thought. So it's a bit like observing that the thought cloud is passing you by, or do we hop on board and go for a ride?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And it's the hopping on board and going for a ride that keeps you in the stress cycle.
Yeah. But the cool thing about that is once you realize that you've hopped on board and you're going for a ride, and you realize that's what you're doing, and you automatically have hopped off, and you're back in your present moment. So you don't actually have to do too much. You just go, oh, I'm on the cloud again. Off I go.
Yeah.
And you're back down, doing what you're supposed to be doing. So don't overthink it. I know we get worried about stuff, that we think we should be doing, or how to do it, or are we doing it right? The fact that we're just doing it is a really, really, really good idea.
I see Adair's answered your question.
Yes, I did. I saw that. Yes.
But
the people that previously had a dog.
I'm a bit worried about the dog door. I am actually. Did the dog ever go for a swim by itself? Maybe it was a water dog that really could manage that.
I'd have to be down south, not up here. Up here, way too many crocodiles and jellyfish.
I needed to read the next comment. Thanks, Adair. So Helen is telling us that she had a few cortisol issues for a few years and worked with a naturopath.
Good.
Yeah. So, our hormone system is under so much pressure, and the way we live at the moment.
And the interesting thing about the glands, about the endocrine system, is that if one gland is out, all the others will be not working at optimum level anyway. So there's one issue somewhere, then all the others will be struggling. It's all interconnected. Everything's interconnected on the bod.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So sorting out cortisol can sort out the ripple effect of that is actually everything else can be settled and sorted out as well, potentially.
The other really thing that is often overlooked with, sorting out the physiology, in particular, the hormonal imbalance, is everything starts in the energy field. And by the time it's manifested in the body, there's all sorts of out of whackedness, if there is such a phrase.
There is now.
Yep, there is now already going on. So the other thing that you can add to the picture with what you're doing with physiological support and, your meditation and starting to get the thoughts under control, or not even under control, getting into better relationship with your thoughts. Is how I look at meditation practice. But the other thing that you can be doing is, if you're Reiki attuned, daily Reiki for yourself is a beautiful thing. If you're not Reiki attuned, don't panic. There's still stuff that you can do. You've all heard about heart coherence, I'm sure. Doing some heart coherence practice or getting into some guided meditations that actually bring you into your heart space and really start generating that energy of gratitude and joy and appreciation, and allowing that to build is another way that you can support your healing at the energetic level. So you can really be doing this from the inside out and from the outside in.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is the best way.
And doing it together,
yeah,
you get the best effect
going
faster.
To really ramp
Absolutely,
up
yeah.
what's going on for you. So if you've got questions about heart coherence or guided meditations, pop them in the comments. We'll be happy to either answer them now or
any form of meditation has benefit. Yeah, absolutely, Roz. I agree with you totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't. I mean, we choose to use Transcendental because I find the mantra or the sound vibrates really well and it puts me into a meditative state very quickly, but it doesn't really matter what you do.
Yeah, and I've found for myself, compared to some of the other forms of meditation I've done, I've found it really profound for clearing the nervous system. For me personally, that's the highest benefit, that and the connection, the really quick, clear connection with higher consciousness. But that the physiological clearing of the nervous system itself, I haven't experienced that with other forms of meditation.
Yeah, well, I suppose as an naturopath,
but I guess it depends what you want to achieve with your meditation.
Well, and there's a lot of science behind TM, and there's a lot of stuff on the internet about TM. Mindfulness meditation, which is perhaps more Western, which is taken from more traditional forms of meditation, that works too. There's research on that as well. I think it just is whatever resonates, really. And I think that's a really important thing. As long as it resonates with you, it'll work. Definitely.
Yeah, sure. Helen, look, we can put you in touch with some teachers of Transcendental meditation. Absolutely.
Where are you, Helen? Where do you live?
I think she's in Southeast Queensland, Gold Coast.
So, yes, there's actually a really good teacher in that region. So, yeah, we'll do that.
And hello, gorgeous Omanessa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Om. How are you?
So nice to see you here. Om is Darwin's own spiritual naturopath.
Yes.
So she's another beautiful, wise soul. Thank you so much for sharing your presence and your energy with us today, lovely.
Are you here in Darwin?
I've got goosebumps that you've tuned in. It's so nice to see you. Yeah. So, look, we've gone for ages.
Have we?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Are there any other particular questions? Hello, lovely Om. It's so nice to see you. If you are in Darwin, I would love to catch up with you. It'd be so good. I haven't seen you for ages. And Adair saying, hi, Om. Do you guys know each other? I wouldn't be surprised. Facebook is such a small world. No, not yet. Oh, yes, you're here. Good. We might have to catch up for a cuppa.
Oh, that'd be cool. I haven't seen you for years.
Yeah. Look, at this point in time, neither of us are teaching TM. No,
neither of us are yet. But I am aware that there is
Did you hear the ... yet?
Yeah. Yeah. Got to wait for the kids to grow up and move out. Nearly there. There is a really good teacher who's very well respected around the Gold Coast area. So I'll find out who that is and see if we can get that information to you. Definitely.
Yeah. Thanks, Adair. Look, an absolute pleasure. I think stress is probably something we could talk about again because we only kind of scratched the surface.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk about the COVID stuff and how that creates,
an even bigger
wave. Yeah. And it's community-based stress too. We were just talking about individual stressors for each individual person and how they respond to that. But the way the communities are responding to things like that, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we will talk a bit more about stress next time, definitely, because we do want to look at what's going on with COVID. Yeah. Because, what we've touched on today is just the baseline stress that everybody's managing day to day anyway. And we've got Michelle joining us as well. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for
hi,
popping
Michelle.
in, Michelle. It's so lovely to see you. Thank you so much. And yeah, stress. I would imagine that you're seeing a lot of stressed people at the moment too. Yep, stress. It's the big thing. And I think, it's really ramped up, particularly with the whole vaccination debate. Well, it's not even a debate anymore.
No, but I think
the situation with COVID is
but
very scary.
I think community stress is different to individual stress.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
individual stresses feed into community stress, definitely, but it is something worth considering.
Yeah. And this is another really powerful point that that Helen's brought up about being an empath, and perhaps that's something we can touch on next time as well.
Absolutely.
So Helen, if you're able to join us again next week, looking at the community-based stress and how being an empath can actually make things so much worse for you. We might even look at, what are some of the things that people who are empathic or who are consciously aware of their empathic innate nature, how we can actually safeguard ourselves in the environment of such high levels of stress in the community conscious.
I agree. I think that's worth considering.
Bursting into tears. Yep. In shopping centres. Yeah, avoid shopping centres.
I don't even go into shopping centres. I send my daughter now that she drives.
Yeah. And this is the thing that we want to really address, because there is a lot of stress around this particular decision, whether you're pro or anti. That's not a consideration. It's just what is right for me in this environment. It's really stressful. Yeah. And so much division. Yeah. And that's what we want to focus on, the conflict that's being created, the unnecessary conflict.
Yeah. It is unnecessary.
Yeah. So we want to save all this juiciness up for next time. So today was a really good
Thank
intro,
you, everybody.
A nice, really baseline check-in on stress. Thank you, Om. Thank you so much for being here. It's wonderful to have you. It's wonderful.
Thank you all.
Yeah. So I think that's it for stress this week.
For this week.
We'll talk more about the collective conscious stress and what we're experiencing that's been ramped up over and above the baseline.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. It's been a really good conversation this afternoon, and we really appreciate and value your contributions. So thank you so much.
And if you have anything you want to add for next week, let us know.
Let us know. Absolutely. So, yes, have a lovely weekend. We will indeed. Thank you, and you too. And so lovely. Thanks, Helen. You know what? I think I've mentioned this before, but Helen and I worked together in Sydney just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's so cool.
When I finished uni, my first job out of uni, I was working with Helen.
That's so cool.
Yeah, we were the marketing department, weren't we, Helen? Between us. Yeah. So, yep, have a lovely weekend, and thanking you for your absolute
pleasure
sharing of your wisdom and expertise. 32 years ago. Are you kidding? Oh, my God, Helen. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I was such a baby then. I'm still a baby. Okay, well, blessings, everybody.
Yes.
Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you this time next week. Well, actually, 2
Bye.
o'clock. Bye.
Bye-bye.